Hey guys, welcome to this week's Chewing the Fat with myself and Dean Kilby. Hello, Dean, once again. Thanks for joining. Today I want to talk about a couple of things. One is what I've experienced today on my Eat Whatever the Hell You Want day. And two is about the COVID-19 and the serology test that I saw you post something about on Facebook today. So first up, today is my Eat Whatever the Hell You Want day. And going back 10 to 12 weeks, and I spoke about it a little bit last week as well. Last week I was caught a little bit off guard because I wasn't expecting today's the day you can eat whatever you want. And it was later in the day as well. So I was like, oh, okay then. And I didn't really, go that hard really. And today I woke up and thought, okay, I had a cousin's 50th birthday on today, and Lam was out the back cooking all my meals for the day and meals for our son and everyone else. And they all came in and I wrapped them up and put them in the fridge. And I went, hang on a sec, today's Sunday. Last Sunday, that must mean I can eat whatever I want. That's gold. My cousin's 50th, I can just go to the party and, have a couple of wines and eat whatever's on hand without having to take my own food, and I can eat whatever I want now. And then when I come home before we get on this call today, I can have a couple of beers and watch some bike racing. It's going to be great. So I had to go to Coles to buy a card for my cousin and get a couple of other things. And I thought, while I'm here, let's go to the chocolate aisle, let's go to the chip aisle, and see what we can get for when I come home. And I'm walking down the chocolate aisle and I'm sort of, browsing through everything going, yeah, don't really feel like that. Yeah, I sort of, no, not really, no. I got to the end of the chocolate aisle and I thought, all right, well, maybe I'm in a savoury mood, because I sort of switched between the both. So I went round to the chip aisle. And I'm walking down through the chips and the biscuits, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't eat a box of them. They're nice, but I've had them before. I ended up walking out of Coles with a Crank protein bar to eat on the way to my cousin's place, with 24 grams of protein, 0.6 grams of sugar, and 1.2 grams of fat.
You loser.
No. And I just like, what is happening to me? I was just ready to load up on all this stuff, and I just wasn't interested. And
yeah,
I got what I needed to get and went to my cousin's house. And, I had a couple of spring rolls and some cheese and ham pastry puffs that my grandmother used to make. As soon as I walked in, they said, remember Nan used to make these? I've made them. Okay, give me some of them. They were great. I haven't had them in years. And some Lebanese chicken and Lebanese bread wrapped with, the hummus and tabbouleh and sauces and all that sort of stuff. A couple of glasses of red wine, nothing too drastic. And I was really full. And I thought, okay, cool, no worries. Not really going out that hard as compared to what I thought I would be, looking forward to on my cheat day. So I'm driving home and I thought, today's the day Krispy Kreme stopped their Snickers donuts.
How did you know that though?
It's all over Facebook and Instagram. And
you have a radar for that shit.
Oh, I was someone that wouldn't touch Krispy Kremes for 6 to 8 months, and then go buy a mixed dozen on a Sunday Sunday lunchtime. And over the course of that afternoon, get down to the last two and go, you fat pig, what's another two going to hurt? And just eat the last two anyway. I'm only going to eat them tomorrow so that they're gone. And then I wouldn't touch them again for 6 to 8 months.
I'm like that with KFC. I swear to God, it's like every, 24 months, every couple of years, I think to myself, geez, it's been a little while. I remember it tasted okay, and I'd go try a piece of chicken or whatever, and it's like, you go, oh yeah. And then afterwards, or maybe even halfway through, I'm like, why the heck did I do this? This was not a good idea. You just feel terrible. You feel like you've just walked out of a brothel. Like it's like the guilt of it. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh.
And then that reminds you, that's why I haven't eaten it for 2 or 3 years, you know?
So, all right. So I get to the 7-Eleven on the way home, and you know, there's a 2-pack because they make 2 different Snickers donuts. There's a 2-pack of them. I went, sweet, I'll get them. Come home, ate a pasta tuna bake that Lana had made me anyway. Went out and grabbed a beer out of the fridge, came in, turned on the bike racing, sat there watching that, had a beer, had the tuna pasta bake, and went, all right, Krispy Kreme time, let's go. Grabbed another beer, had the Krispy Kremes, finished them, went, probably didn't need to eat them. Like, it wasn't the, oh my God, I've been just craving them for so bloody long. Just, I should go get 2 more. It was just really, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It was empty, the feeling that I had afterwards. It wasn't like I shouldn't have eaten them. It was just like, don't know why I was looking forward to eating that. And then I sat there for a bit, and then it all sort of rested, and I thought, oh my God, my stomach is actually hurting me. It wasn't like I was just previously just eaten a lot and gone, oh, I need to just sit back and just... It was actually painful. I was like, oh my God, my gut has just gone whooshka, bang. Yeah. And I'm trying to find a comfortable sort of position to digest it. Oh my God. And then I started to feel, you know, the watch you gave me to wear to measure heart rate and all that sort of stuff started to feel tight. And my hands started to feel fat. And I started to feel my heart beating through my hands. And I went, this will be interesting. Let's check my heart rate. Because I haven't done anything. I've just been sitting on the lounge watching TV.
Yeah.
And since you gave me the watch, my heart rate has been probably the lowest it's been for ages. And considering I haven't really been training at all, it's been around 60 beats a minute. And at night, it's 49, 50 to 55, and I was pretty happy with that. But I could notice I could feel everything was just magnified as I was sitting there on the lounge. So I turn on the watch and I'm scrolling through the heartbeat, 102 beats a minute. I just looked at it and just went, what the hell? Just relax, just forget it for a couple of minutes and just look at it a bit longer later. And I sat there for a while and just watching the TV and just tried to calm down, looked at it again. 96 beats a minute. Oh, my God. Can you explain to me what the hell is going on there, please?
Yeah, you shocked the shit out of your body.
All right, thanks for the call. See you later.
It's dealing with a lot. It's got to process all of that. But I mean, here's the standout thing. Like it's actually really, it's amazing for me to listen to you share the degree to which you're present throughout the entirety of that day. Like present to what's happening, present to your internal state. You're aware of your experience of it all. You're just so damn present. And I know you've just shared a snippet of what you probably could have shared and recalled and the impact of it. And that's what I mean by this transformational process. You really do come alive.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what you experienced at the end of the day that's what most people experience every day.
Well, that's what I was experiencing every day before, but wasn't aware I was experiencing that all the time. And it was a great...
It's not that you weren't aware that that's what you're experiencing. You just weren't aware.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just like really numb to life. You just weren't aware at all.
It was a great
The
thing.
machine.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say the great thing that we spoke about during the week after the first, after last week and the difference I woke up to on that Monday morning. It was a great thing you said about the first 3 phases. You become the scientist and your body is the laboratory. And now you've calibrated the machine, you can get a true measurement of actually what's happening versus the objectivity you had prior to that.
Yeah, not quite. So you become the scientist, your life becomes the laboratory.
Right.
Your body is the instrument with which you experience life. Right? So if this machine isn't calibrated right, then the accuracy, the recall capability, the performance value is severely compromised. So you've been through, along this journey, you've been calibrating this machine, this instrument, this really high-tech kind of device that's super sensitive, and it's become even more sensitive now. Like you're awake, you're present, you're there with your surroundings, you're at one with life, you're there with people. And at the end of the day of stuffing yourself, and not even really stuffing yourself, I mean,
not like I was
you could have done a hell of a lot more damage, right? And you got the impact on this machine. Now, if you're doing that day after day, you can't keep feeling that uncomfortable. Is just too damn uncomfortable. So what happens is we become a bit numb to all of that. That just becomes how it is. That's just the water that we swim in, the air that we breathe, and people tolerate that degree of unworkability day after day, week after week, month after month, and then you start feeling like crap one year, and then it's the same the next year and the same the next year, and it's like 10 years, 15, 20 years of this stuff. People tolerate it.
It's getting older. I've had a few injuries. That's what happens when you get past 40. You hold weight a lot easier. You put on weight a lot quicker. It's the middle age spread, and there's a whole host of reasons why that's normal.
Yeah, and it's as I've said before, with every kilogram of fat comes a story. Right? So it's not just the layers of fat. That's just a physical manifestation of whatever protective layer you're putting between you and life. And people wake up as adults and they're like, why aren't I free to express myself? Why do I feel so constrained and so hampered? And it's like, I can't be who I really want to be. I can't do what I really want to do. I had this vision and this future that I saw for myself in my younger years. And it's like, what happened to that? And that's what we call resigned and cynical. And we numb ourselves and then we just go through the motions day after day, wondering what the heck. It's like you're on a train, because that train can only go where the tracks go, right? You have no say. You might see, you'll be looking out the window and you see something amazing. You see like this beautiful sunset and there's like this valley and it's just gorgeous, and you want to head that way. You can't. The train's heading that way and you're just stuck. You got no say. And that's kind of like what most people's lives are. And you know where that train's heading? A really ordinary freaking funeral.
Yeah.
Where some people will gather together and say some nice things about you and then go have some cucumber sandwiches somewhere at best.
KFC and Krispy Kreme.
But imagine let's go and get some fried chicken there.
That's what they would have wanted. A bucket of KFC and Krispy Kreme.
So there's this transformational journey that one goes on, and phases 1 to 3 is just your ticket into phase 4. That's where the real work happens. See, it's kind of like when Michelangelo was chipping away at that rock, and when asked, how did you create David? He said, I chipped away everything that wasn't David until David showed up.
Yeah.
And when one goes on a transformational journey and you shed those stories and you shed that past, and then the real you, it's not like that you change. It's just like a brighter version of who you once were, or who you've always wanted to be, or who you know yourself to be, but you've never felt the confidence to express that. And now you're like awake, you're knowing what's around you. I mean, it's like you're present. You start to see that the changes that you've made and the commitment that you've generated and the discipline that you've applied to yourself in your own life and your eating habits, you watch the people around you. I mean, you've had a number of people already contact me saying, whatever you did to Trevor,
yeah,
I want what he's having, kind of thing. Right? And then there will be people who don't contact me, but just start making a few shifts in their life as well.
Yeah.
They start getting committed. It's like, well, if he can do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it may not be regarded their health. It may be related to something else that they've been putting off for some time,
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're doing it.
Totally.
So this is that flow-on effect.
I can really see, though, how the whole first three phases are just, you don't get the phase 4 until you complete those first three phases. It's like those first three phases you must do for you to get phase 4. I mean, in the end of the day, if it was just about what you put in your mouth and how much weight you lost, you could just do phase 4 forever and a day, which you probably wouldn't do anyway. But, you do phase 4 forever and a day and gradually lose the weight, and at some stage just end up putting it all back on and never deal with anything. But what I've seen today and last week when I had a limited, go at just going all out and eating what I wanted, was just how critical those first three phases are at not only resetting the calibrating the instrument, but setting you up for the rest of your life. It's just, I would never have thought, I was just not interested in going down the chocolate and chip aisle and not buying anything. That's that ain't me.
Well, those days, we all have these periods or moments of, the clinical term is either hyperphagia or polyphagia or whatever, when you just overeat. And sometimes you don't know why the heck you're in front of the fridge. You don't know what you feel like. Am I hungry? Am I not? If I am hungry, do I want something sweet, savory? What is it that I want? And it's like, I don't even know sometimes if that even gets resolved, but you just shove something in your face. It's just whatever's there in the fridge. People start just shoving it in their face. Now imagine, expand that fridge to the size of a supermarket. And now you've got a piece of plastic that allows you to have pretty much whatever you want. And you've got a trolley, and you're just like, it's all this impulse, and you're not thinking. It's all just reactionary kind of stimulus response for whatever reason. Who knows?
I spoke to someone at the party I was at today, and they were messaging me after I left about it, and I shared what I was getting out of today with them, and they said, "Oh my God, that's me." I know I shouldn't eat this. Like, I know I shouldn't have had that cake today, but after everyone left, I had that cake, and I was just sat there going, "Why did I eat that? Why did I just feel like crap now?" And I said, well, that's what there is to get out of those first three phases. Not to eat the cake, but what's behind you knowing you shouldn't eat it, but eating it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a very long process if you wait until you figure that out, like the psychological aspect. So that person's like, why did I eat the cake? So there's a little voice in your head that's going, why did I eat the cake? The problem is that same voice then answers that goddamn question. And it says things like, because you're a dickhead. So you just spend the rest of your life listening to this voice talking to itself, asking stupid questions and then answering them, because that's all you've got to answer it, is whatever's in that cranium of yours. It's limited. So how you transform it, if you wait until you get the right answer, if you wait until you figure it out, it may take you 10 years of what? Remaining a fat prick, sluggish, tired, can't breathe, can't participate in what you want, snoring, smelling, not wearing the clothes that you really want to wear, having everyone around you worried about you, scared to say anything for fear of offending you. Oh, because, you know, fat people are so sensitive. No, they're not. They're tough as all heck. They've got protection, man. They've got layers of fat protecting them. Why I'm so effective is because I don't relate to them as small people trapped in a fat body. No, they're big people with big lives. And then there's this, you know, there's just lack of insight in what it takes to gain some power around that. And that's all I do with people, is just stand shoulder to shoulder with them like I did you. I didn't hold your hand. A lot of the time my foot was in your back, but it was really, this is all you got to do. You'll just, wherever you have a loss of power in your life, in any area, there's always something hidden from your view. There's always something that you just can't see. You didn't know that there were foods that if you ate them, they wouldn't cause you to gain weight, but they would prevent you from losing weight. You didn't know that it was the distension in your gut that helps to regulate levels of satiety so you're not hungry throughout.
Yeah.
You didn't know the sheer impact of just making sure you consume that amount of water every single day to improve the process of lipolysis so your body can more effectively utilize the fat as an energy source. I mean, these types of things you got to learn over time. But what's beautiful about this process is you have an as-lived experience of it and produce the results at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're not waiting until you figure it all out. I mean, you probably will never know why you ate that bloody cake. Who cares? Who cares? Just stop eating it and discover what else is available in life. Get up to something different. So now it's like phase 1 to 3 is gone. Now you've jumped off the platform. It's not about should I or shouldn't I, and, you know, will it work and all that sort of stuff. You know, you deal with that early on. Now it's, wow, how far can I push it now? How much more can I tune this machine? Like what you do with your motorbikes.
Yeah.
You know, you optimize their performance and you keep tweaking them. And it's like, how much further can we push it? But you got to do it within the limits of safety as well.
Yeah.
Right. Because you don't want to get hurt. So, but now you're looking into a future of, oh, you know, what am I going to die of? Whereas like before, it was like, you know, when am I going to have a heart attack?
It really was. You know, sometimes I'd be out the back and I'd be literally thinking, you know, no one's home when I'm training. And I know plenty of people that have gone down from a heart attack around 45 to 50 years old. I could just, you know, if I go down while I'm mid training session, no one's here to help me. Yeah.
I remember you sharing with me, and then another one of your mates, you know, shared with me again. You were first on the scene at a friend of yours who went down at 49 years of age.
Yeah.
You know, it's just devastating, and the impact on, you know, obviously on you and everyone else that loved him is just enormous. You know, no one ever wants to be that kind of that kind of an impact on people.
Yeah.
I don't think. Not in my experience anyway.
No, exactly right. Cool.
So now it's like I said, it's phase 1 to 3. Yes, we correct the metabolic dysfunction. Yes, the weight comes off you. The inflammation reduces, your body shape change, all that sort of stuff. But it's an educational process. It's a learning process. Now it's one of waking up and growing up, and it's physiologically, it's endocrinological. So we regulate your hormones. Now that you're in phase 4, that's more neurological. And you're getting that. It's like, how do we train the brain to keep your body at this new health set point? Because it's not about, can I lose the weight? I mean, who cares? Like, take your shoes off and do a shit. Get on the scales. You will have lost weight. It's no big deal losing weight. But you want to lose weight in the most healthful way possible and in a way that allows you to sustain it for the rest of your life. But if you're obese, I don't trust you with that body. Even when we get to your target weight, we want to keep you there, stabilized, and train the brain to be interested now in a whole new context, a whole new future of like optimization, really, performance optimization. And it's like, what are you going to get up to? What game could you create? And you got to be creating a game. So it's not just to correct you. You mentioned earlier that it was a cheat day. It's not a cheat day. You're not cheating from anything. It has integrity.
Yeah.
Do you get the difference?
Yeah.
Cheating, it lacks integrity. It does, and without integrity, it doesn't work. So when people include a cheat day, they're shooting themselves in the foot. Mm. So what this is an indulgence day. It's a day where you can fully let loose and fully appreciate all the different kinds of foods that you may want to be eating, but you know, if you eat them regularly all the time, irresponsibly, and don't check yourself, then it's going to add up. As I keep saying, it's not the 2 liters of ice cream that you smash in one night. It's the little treat every day consistently that you let yourself get away with that adds up, right? No one woke up 10 kilograms overweight all of a sudden.
Well, you feel like you do. But the amazing thing is, what you're saying there is that the whole phase 4 is the setting up for the rest of you and training your brain into the, from what I'm seeing so far, the brain training is already there. I get the maintenance of it might be there, but the actual setting up for being able to sustain it, it's already there from those first 3 phases. It's amazing. I just really don't want to go back to eating that stuff. Even though I made myself today, I'm just not interested in it. Next week is going to be just eat whatever's made for me anyway, and maybe just not worry so much about what I'm eating that day. It's not going to be sweet, I'm let loose to do whatever I want. Not interested in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you also have to appreciate and have the maturity to understand you're in the early phases.
Oh, yeah.
Life is like insidious. It's just going to creep up on us. You kind of forget, you get busy, other things happen. It becomes less of a priority. So you got to keep creating a future to live into with a commitment. So it's not just losing the weight, it's losing the weight and keeping it off for the rest of your life. So why is phase 4 12 months? Because that's how long it takes to lock that in. You got to remember, you've got brain patterns that have played over and over and over and over and over and over for decades. Yeah. And you've been on protocol for 12, 13 weeks or something, not even. Well, how long has it been? I don't know. Cool. Right. So yes, you've created some new brain patterns, but now we've got to ingrain that and have them be the primary neurological pathways that get fired versus the age-old ones that nurtured you and comforted you. And particularly when, you know, life hits hard and you're stressed and overwhelmed and upset and people piss you off and there's financial stresses and you go on holidays and then you lack the discipline to correct it straight away. So that's why you need 12 months with a plan, with a coach, where you keep your health as a priority. And people are full of shit. People say their health is a priority. It's like, screw you. If I was a fly on the wall watching your actions and behaviors, I'm pretty sure that the way in which you act, the way in which you perform suggests that you're committed to something else. And I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to 2/3 of the adult population in Australia, right? So this whole idea of like, I mean, even people listen to these videos and then they reach out to me and they go, oh, really, this is it. I've been watching the videos. I need to do this. And it's like, how much is it? How committed are you? I'm really, really committed. Great. Let me send you an email and tell you how to get started. Never freaking hear from them again. People are full of shit. And that's not a problem for me. I'm not saying you, if you're a listener, if you're the one going, it's not personal to you. It's just human beings are full of it. We always say we're up for it. You know, the worst, this is because I'm going to train you as you're like going to be a phenomenal coach, right? Here's the worst. People who go, oh no, I'm in for this. This is like, if I commit to something, I always do it 100%. You may as well give their money back then and there. People talk cheap. It's not that talk is cheap. People cheapen talk. I think it's extraordinary when you can give your word to something and big audacious goals, but don't cheapen your word, man. If you're going to give your word, you freaking do it, and you discover what it takes to honor your word. You discover what it takes to be that kind of person who fulfills on that impossible task, this monster that's like seemed impossible for you. For many people, it's like years and years, sometimes decades, a lot of people even their entire lives. And they come to me and I say to them, yep, it's possible. Now they go, oh, they're skeptical in the beginning. Man, you get through those first 4 weeks, you drop 10 kilos in those first 4 weeks. You're like, holy crap, this is possible. The blinkers start to come up. It's like, wow, if I could lose 10 in 4 weeks, it's like, what else? I caught up with a friend of ours last night. He looked amazing. I mean, this guy's Fijian Indian. His skin looked incredible. He's dropped 22 kilograms. I mean, he's just a whole new person. Yeah. We went out to a restaurant. He didn't indulge. He ate on protocol.
Wow.
It was amazing.
That's
awesome. And I love seeing that. I love, people are sending me messages. They drop 15 kilograms, 20 kilograms. It's like nothing. I hear it too often now, but I know it's like, oh my God, that's another 15 to 20 years added to their health span.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But look, people got to look after not only their metabolic health, but that plays a big part on their immunological health as well. Especially in their ability to, fend off pathogens like COVID-19.
Let's get on to that. I saw you post something today about a serology test or something to do with COVID-19.
Yeah, so Linfa Wang, Professor Wang is the professor and director of emerging infectious diseases in Singapore. So he was when I did my biotechnology degree, he was my research supervisor. So, I was young and, those people who influence you when you're in those formative years, they stick in your head for the rest of your life. So he's been that kind of a mentor to me all these years, 20 odd years. So he's the world leading expert in coronaviruses, that's bat-borne zoonotic agents. So he was at the forefront of Hendra virus. That's what I worked with him on. He even developed a vaccine with a large pharmaceutical company against Hendra virus. It wasn't for people, it was for horses. And every horse that's been vaccinated with that has remained safe from Hendra virus. There have still been cases of Hendra virus infections amongst horses, but those horses weren't vaccinated. So, vaccines have a real impact. He was at the forefront of the Nipah virus outbreak in Malaysia. And then after that, SARS, whatever that was, 17 years ago. So he was the leading scientist, and he was the guy that pinpointed the host to be bats in each of those cases. The reservoir was bats, and then it spread from bats to another intermediate animal and then to humans. And we think that that's the same thing that happened here with, SARS-CoV-2. So Linfa, when the world was in the beginning of the pandemic, went after testing everybody using a molecular technique called PCR. So they put a swab down your throat or up your nose, and they check to see if there's the viral genome material in those locations. So that diagnoses someone with active infection, right? Now, we know that there's an incubation period where you could be spreading it. People are also concerned that enough time has passed now where not only since March when we went into lockdown, but it's like way back in probably as early as October, November last year, people might be considering if they've traveled in particular. You know, when I had that cold, was it COVID? When I had those flu-like symptoms and I recovered, have I had it? I don't know. I'd like to know. How would you know? So it's not only have you been exposed to the virus and has your immune system elicited antibodies that bind to the virus. That'll tell you if you've been exposed. But then you want to know, well, do I have functional immunity against the virus? If I was ever re-challenged with the virus, if I was reinfected, would I be somewhat protected from it? Yeah. Right? Now, these re-challenged experiments haven't yet been done. So I know people are concerned because there's a lot of literature coming out about people who lose their so-called immunity, their antibody titers are declining 3 or 4 months after infection. You know, it's very confusing. You just want to be careful of what you're reading. Is it just headline garbage, right? That's it's all political and it drives the economy and it's all about the stock market and all this shit. I don't even know what the heck to read and trust anymore, because reputable journals are publishing stuff that just, they're publishing things, the data is way too early. They're creating interpretations that the extrapolations are so far removed from the actual data. I mean, I'm fortunate in that I can just flick a message to Linfa and ask him, you know, is this real? Should I listen to this? Put this to the side? You know, most people don't have that luxury of having a Linfa in their life to, you know, keep their sanity, so to speak. So here's what we know about you know, if you get infected with the virus, let's go back, let's learn from SARS 17 years ago. There are people who were infected with SARS 17 years ago still have antibodies in their system that not only bind to SARS, but neutralize it, stop it from reinfecting them. So they have protective immunity against SARS, right? So we can learn from that. Is it that far-fetched to think that maybe it's the same for SARS-CoV-2? I don't think so. You know, now, why are the antibody titers declining 3 or 4 months afterwards? Well, this particular virus has a massive genome, right? It's quite a large genome, and it codes for a number of proteins. And if you look at the virus itself, the spherical shape of the virus, there's a protein called the N protein, or nucleocapsid protein. That's quite abundant. So when you get infected, your immune system is going to generate a lot of antibodies against the nucleocapsid protein, just because there's so much of it. 95% of the antibodies that your body generates against the viral pathogen will not be neutralizing. Therefore, it doesn't make sense for your body and your immune system to keep reinvesting energy and everything that it takes to make those antibodies if they're not going to serve any sort of protective function in the future. Do you get what I'm saying? So, of course, those antibodies are going to decline.
Yeah.
All you need is a tiny number of neutralizing antibodies to do the job. A lot of the assays out there they're just not sensitive enough to detect those neutralizing antibodies.
Right.
You want to stop the spike protein. So you've got the sphere, then you've got the spike proteins, and then there's a receptor binding domain on the end of the spike protein. That's what binds to the ACE2 receptor on the human cells. You want to stop that interaction. That's where the neutralizing antibodies come into play. You don't need many of them to do the job. Now, even if they decline, you don't need much. Plus, we have, memory and immune memory and so forth. So upon re-challenge, it's the case that your immune system ramps up. It's not going to keep them high. That takes energy. I mean, this whole journey, you being in phase 1 to 3, and now what you're experiencing now with your eating habits, you're discovering how your body regulates energy. It's so flexible, man. It invests it where it's needed, right, for survival. So what does all this mean? Why am I saying this? Because people are going to go, oh, the vaccine's going to be useless. And, oh, man, I would just shut up. What qualifies you to even have an opinion? Right? You don't get to have an opinion. Oh, I'm entitled to an opinion. Why? You're a dickhead. Shut up. You're not a world leader. I mean, I have to deal with doctors who are pseudoscientists. I don't even claim to be an expert. I rely on the world leading virologist who's expert, not just in any virus, but coronaviruses specifically from bats. That's who I reach out to. If I want to know something about the brain, I'll reach out to Kristen Willamere in Los Angeles, who's a world-leading neurobiologist, or I'll speak to Joe Maroon, who's a world-leading neurosurgeon. If I want to find out something about the heart, and how to prevent heart disease, I'll speak to Ross Walker, who's a mate of mine. I want to know about the gut microbiome, I'll talk to Tom Barodi.
This is you. I look up Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's the source of all my information. I'll take that over anyone. And computerized voiceovers over some hospital in Italy about being a bacteria and not a virus. That's who I'm.
I'll read some blog, because someone who may have gone to Harvard once or spoke to someone who went to Stanford, and look, I'm not even saying one way or the other. I'm like, look, a licensed vaccine for mass use is going to take a long time, and you want it to take a long time. You really do. Yeah. Will there be a licensed vaccine earlier? Yes, there will be. I have no doubt. There's so many trials going on. There's so much development happening. And it's amazing that this is happening. I mean, this is like, when you look back, of course, no one ever wants a world war, but look at the innovation and the quantum leap in innovation that happened during the World War that serves us today. This is wartime when you're in the middle of a pandemic. This is freaking wartime, and people don't want to wear a mask. People are like even saying, oh, I don't even believe that the virus is real. You're an idiot. Lie down already. Buy some duct tape. Use it.
Don't even start me on that.
Right? Stop using the internet. You don't deserve that right. Yeah. People need to grow up and do some critical thinking, not of the headlines, but how you're reacting.
Well, I do get the reaction. People are uncertain and they don't know what the hell's going on. And from what they see from a lot of the leaders don't know what the hell's going on either, which is,
But they're not listening. They're not listening. They're look, earlier, remember that voice in the head says, oh, what should I do? That same voice is going to tell you, what would it know? But people listen to that.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
They're insane.
For some sort of certainty, and that provides the control and certainty over, it's all a conspiracy. They're controlling us. Yeah. It provides some sort of control and knowing what's going on versus with everyone else.
Do you believe in it? People ask me, do I believe? It's like, I don't traffic in beliefs. Beliefs aren't powerful. All you can do with a belief, like even if it is the truth, as soon as the truth becomes a belief, then it ceases to be the truth. All you can do with a belief is convince yourself or others of it.
Yeah.
That's everything, hocus pocus, you know, from the tooth fairy, Santa Claus, religion, all of it. It's a garden path. You're all getting led down it, right? I would hold off on any judgments with regards to vaccines. There'll be some that will get licensed for emergency use only, for frontline healthcare workers where required, in extreme cases, and we'll learn from them as well. You know, would I put, if a vaccine came out tomorrow, would I want it in my body tomorrow? No. When a vaccine comes out in a couple of years, probably. You know, it's got to get tested. We'll try it out on the stupid people first, see what happens. Maybe that's natural selection. So anyway, Lymph has developed this test, this serology test that actually measures neutralizing antibodies in 1 hour. It's amazing. It's so simple. It's ridiculously simple. It just got published in Nature Biotechnology. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece of scientific literature. And I think it's going to speed things up a lot. So if your immune system develops neutralizing antibodies, how you traditionally or historically measure that is a standard virus neutralization test, or VNT. You got to take your plasma, you throw some live virus in there, and then you put that on cells in culture, and you look under the microscope. Does it cause plaques? Does it cause holes? Like, does it kill the cells, right? So it's a plaque assay. That takes 4 to 5 days. You need a biosecurity level 3 laboratory, and you need the live virus. This is so costly. No one, there's a number of labs around the world that can do this, but it's not a high throughput kind of option. So what Lymph has done is replicated that, but made it such that you can do it in 1 hour. You don't need live virus. You don't need a biosecurity level 3 laboratory. And it's as sensitive, if not more sensitive than that assay. And it's way cheaper. So what this will do with vaccine development, for example, is you can assess whether or not it's working way cheaper. You can get that data a lot faster, and you can speed up the whole process. Plus, I want to make this available, and I'm working with, the powers that be to see if we can make it more accessible and available for people to see if they do have functional immunity. Now, does it confer protective immunity? I can't say that. We can't say that yet. That in time we'll know. But functional immunity is about as good as it gets. Is it perfect? No, but it's the best that we've got right now. And it's bloody exciting. It's really bloody exciting. Unfortunately, there were big companies, massive companies that came out with serology tests that muddied the waters. They weren't so great, and sort of the government stopped trusting serology tests. And they've invested tons of money in other useless things that, haven't really served us. But, hopefully I can convince the Australian government, the COVID-19 testing task force team, that this is the way to go. And there's some great scientists in Australia and around the world, and clinicians that I'm talking to see if we can make this available in key ecosystems, for example, airports and airlines, and maybe we can get the United Nations and all the peacekeepers that they've deployed around the world tested. There are key ecosystems and populations where this test could be of massive value that might help, I don't know, maybe even help get the economy going again. Well, coming out of lockdown is the hard bit. How do we unlock? And I think this is an important piece. It's not the be all and end all, but it's an important piece. So
there's the access to getting back into government. If it's going to unlock economies, they'll be all for it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now, in the meantime, don't be fat. Don't have metabolic syndrome. Handle the basic stuff. Like, this is what you've got to be responsible for now. You know, and people are wondering, what can I do? What can I do? Well, be well. So then you can be productive in other areas, you know?
Yeah. Cool. All right. I think we've managed to upset a few people at least on this call,
Great.
which is great. But with love, with love.
Well, fantastic. Well, if they are upset, then call me.
Yeah.
Don't, you know, just sit there and
see the way.
Exactly. Yeah. Get it complete for yourself, or have a conversation and whatever.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening in another episode of Chewing the Fat. We'll see you again next Sunday. Any questions, please post them or send us a message. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you got a lot out of it. See you next week. See you, Dean.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Trevor.